My teaching experience in different parts of the world convinced me that something is wrong with English education. Everywhere I went, it was the same situation. The students were bored, frustrated, stressed, and nervous. Most students, even after years of studying English, failed to speak the language fluently. You are not alone, because it's a global problem. As I encountered this problem more and more, I began to look for the root causes. I realized that before I found a solution, I needed to understand the problem. Just as a doctor must first diagnose a disease before treating it. Think about it. What is the cause of all of this misery and failure? Why do so many people fail to speak English effortlessly despite years of study? What is wrong with English education? Most schools, everywhere in the world, use the grammar translation method. As the name implies, the focus of this method is on grammar analysis and the memorization of translated vocabulary. This method breaks English into an endless series of grammar formulas to memorize. Of course, each grammar formula has exceptions, and these must be memorized too. Schools like the grammar translation method because it appears to be serious, academic, and complex. The grammar translation method fits the way schools teach most subjects, with textbooks, lectures, notes, memorization, and tests. The only problem, as you know, is that it doesn't work. In real conversations, there simply is no time to think about grammar formulas and their exceptions. The failure rate for this method, therefore, is absolutely horrible. Despite the failure of most students to speak English fluently, schools continue to use this method. This is an epic failure of our education system. Obviously, the English teaching methods used in schools do not work. That was easy to see. I knew it, the students knew it, and many teachers know it too, though few will admit it. However, as I continued to investigate the problem with schools, I found even deeper problems in the education system. These problems are less obvious, but in many ways far more damaging to the students. I call these problems the hidden curriculum because they are the hidden lessons taught by schools. The hidden curriculum. Most schools everywhere in the world share a similar hidden curriculum. One element of this curriculum is student passivity. In schools, students are trained to be passive, not active. They sit in chairs, in rows. When they are young, they're told to be quiet and obey the teacher. As the teacher lectures, the students take notes. Later, they are told to memorize these notes in preparation for a test. The message is clear. Learning is a passive activity. You listen to the teacher, you take notes, you memorize the notes. The problem is that speaking English is not a passive activity. You must connect with other people. You must constantly ask and answer questions. You must communicate ideas, emotions, and descriptions. You must be ready for the unexpected. You must be spontaneous. You must actively interact. English is not something you passively study, it's something you do. Related to the problem of passivity is the issue of energy. Sitting for a long time is a low-energy activity. The longer you sit, the more your energy drops. And as your energy drops, so does your concentration. What's worse, we know that some learners need physical movement in order to learn effectively. These people are called kinesthetic learners. The truth is, we are all kinesthetic learners to some degree because we all benefit from physical movement. Schools stick us in chairs and drain our energy. Eventually, an inactive body leads to an inactive mind. The one right answer mentality. One of the greatest flaws of school education is the idea of one right answer. One right answer is a powerful part of the hidden curriculum. It is a result of using textbooks and tests. In school, you are frequently taught that there is one and only one correct answer to a question or problem. For example, You may be asked to choose the correct verb tense on a test, or you may be taught proper English greetings. The hidden message is that the teacher's way is always right. Real life and real English is not this way. For example, sometimes I will tell a story using the present tense, even though the events happened in the past. This is a technique commonly used by native speakers. However, when English learners hear these stories, many are confused and upset. They're convinced that the past tense is the right answer and the only correct way to tell the story. Some get quite upset and even argue with me about it. These students are so convinced that there's only one right answer that they will argue with native speakers. These students have been trained to believe that there's only one correct way to say things in English. The truth is, there are always many ways to say the same thing. We can change verb tenses in order to change the feeling of the story. We can use different vocabulary and different phrases, and we even break grammar rules all the time. One right answer thinking limits and confuses English learners. Effective communication requires flexibility, while the one right answer mentality trains students to be rigid and unimaginative. Connected to this problem is another dangerous part of the hidden curriculum: fear of mistakes. This is one of the most negative and traumatizing messages taught in school. How is the fear of mistakes taught? Through tests and corrections. In nearly every school all over the world, teachers regularly give quizzes and tests. The teacher asks questions, and the students must provide the one right answer. Of course, the one right answer is always the teacher's answer. What happens if the student provides a different answer? They're punished with a lower score. Students are smart, and they quickly understand that in school, mistakes are bad and must be avoided. They also understand that truth is unimportant, and the best way to succeed is to simply give the answer that the teacher wants. Even worse is when a student, already feeling nervous, tries to speak English with the whole class listening. They're just learning, so of course they will make mistakes. When the teacher corrects these mistakes, the student is embarrassed and becomes even more nervous. Eventually, most students try to avoid speaking English because the situation is so painful. By punishing and correcting mistakes, schools punish risk-taking. Little by little, they train students to avoid risk and avoid doing anything they can't do perfectly. Yet there's no perfection with English speaking. Even native speakers make mistakes. We make grammar mistakes. We mispronounce words. We forget vocabulary words. It doesn't matter because we're focused on communicating, not on tests and grades. You will make many mistakes as you improve your English speaking. There's no need to be upset by this. The truth is, most native speakers don't care. They don't care if you make grammar mistakes. They just want to communicate with you. They want to share thoughts, ideas, and feelings. They want to communicate with you as a human being, not as an English student. To communicate effectively, you must forget the idea of perfection and learn to be flexible.